On today's episode of the Pulp Paperback Pursuit, I visit the thrift store. They had a deal of 10 paperbacks for $1, so I got a wide range here. There's the first gem, Christopher Pike Monster. We'll go in depth more on all the finds later in the episode. So, JBM back home here. I got about a dozen books to go over. It's been a while, a few months. Finally got to making more videos. Been working a lot. Got out at the thrift store, like I said, about a dozen books of various genres. And we'll do a close-up on them right now. First up, we have a historical book from the mid-60s released by Fontana. And as you see here, Renaissance and Baroque by Heinrich Wölfflin. He was the professor of art at Basel, and he primarily focuses on Italian Renaissance era, the churches and other political buildings of the time, and the art and the science more behind it, and the context of how it was made, and the different influences and styles of that contemporary junction. And it's a really good read. We got pictures in here too where he goes over. It's in decent shape. There's even more of like a photos, Rome capital. There he is examining the foyer of different cathedrals in Italy. So great find. Can't wait to learn the knowledge from this. A drastic change of genres here. Peanuts, Charlie Brown, lunch bag cookbook. It teaches you how to make tuna sandwiches and salmon and mayonnaise sandwiches and simple recipes for when you're brown bagging it. What do we got here? Stick to the roof of your mouth peanut butter sandwiches continued. Some salmon sandwiches. School of tuna sandwiches. Of course Charlie Brown eats tuna sandwiches. He's Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown's cheese sandwiches. Egg sandwiches, hard-cooked eggs, chopped olives. Oh man, I gotta make some of these sometimes. Adding stuff like olives and pickles and cucumbers and even cranberries to your tuna sandwiches can make a large difference in quality. Now we have here an old Magnum Easy Eye book. It's more of a children's book, but this cover is what sold me on it to get it. You got the elephant here working symbiotically with the monkey on top, and then like the alligator snapping at his snout. And how can you pass up on a book like this? And I'm looking through it. It's more childish and stuff, but great cover. Probably never gonna read it, but I couldn't pass it up. Now this one kind of falls in the men's adventure genre. It's called A Handful of Dominoes, a clergyman thriller, East of the Berlin Wall. It's a series actually, a codenamed Sebastian thriller. When I was looking up, there's a few different copies. This is in the series, and this is a cover. There's only a few of them on eBay. Probably the best cover. Successful Living Edition. And I guess this torch and flame is their logo. But another thing that looks kind of boring, but great cover. Jesus and the Radicals from the obviously the late 60s, early 70s. And this guy, James Surrigo, is a priest going around evangelizing college students, basically hippies of the time, Vietnam era, and introducing them to Christ. And you got the typical Jesus image up here at the top, and throughout you got a bunch of images of the different campus protests and events. Unique book, about a $15 book, and beautiful. How to Be a Survivor, A Plan to Save Spaceship Earth. Dr. Paul R. Ehrlich, author of The Population Bomb, a Ballantine book from the 70s. So this is like climate control type of actions and political actions and recycling type of conservation actions that he crusades for in this book, and how to be a survivor, how to protect our home planet. It even talks, there's like a whole chapter dedicated to population control in the US and how it's the pivotal decade to save our planet before it becomes completely polluted. A Crest book from the late 50s, early 60s, Folk Medicine by D.C. Jarvis, M.D. I believe he's from Vermont. So the byline here says, A Famous Doctor's Guide to Folk Medicine Practices of Vermont, the Natural Secrets of Honey, Apple Cider Vinegar, and Foods for Health. And he recommends stuff like castor oil and iodine and other cult country remedies. 500,000 sold here. So I'm sure there's some knowledge to glean from this book through the powers of honey. Now we got a thick Doubleday image book, Conjectures of a Guilty Bystander by Thomas Merton. Personal reflections and meditations on contemporary issues by one of the world's most celebrated religious thinkers, complete and unabridged. And it goes through navigating through Christianity in the 20th century. Any type of vintage spiritual book, I'm always going to pick one. Silhouette Desire series, Jennifer Green, Minx. An 80s trashy romance novel, number 366. Alright, we're on to some horror now. Barbara Michaels was an older writer. This is a re-release in the 80s of a book published in 1973 called Witch. And I believe this is a Berkeley edition. So we have the ghostly cat here. It's your type of gothic tale of a divorced woman moving out into the country and has to deal with a haunted house and other supernatural occurrences. And you even have a quote here from the eminent Marion Zimmer Bradley saying, "Simply the best living writer of ghost stories and thrillers," in describing of Barbara Michaels. You don't hear too much about this book, and I don't recall, I haven't done much research, I don't recall what the original cover looks like, but happy to find it, and I like it. An old scholastic Walt Disney movie child type of novelization, unidentified, flying oddball, thrilling laugh-a-minute action based on the Disney movie. Mankind's Search for God, another esoteric spiritual book searching for different religions. And this is really well made. And you even have colored imagery in a paperback style, semi-rare. And it's of old artwork throughout the years. You got some Russian, examining the different cultures, Islam section. So another good one to find in paperback. Mostly you'll see it in hardcover. Ethel Gordon, Freer's Cove. Now we have a more traditional Gothic type of tale released by Dell. We have the woman there going to a secluded Cape mansion, working for this family, and of course I'm assuming there's supernatural elements involved. Here's a little closer look on that cover. Gorgeous. And we got our plot line. Who was the more innocent? The children whose lives were threatened at the great and isolated mansion on Freer's Cove, or the newcomer who had trustingly accepted a seemingly privileged post with the wealthy Freer clan? And then I've had a few copies of this, never in this great a condition. This is relatively in great condition. Still got the coloring on it, monster. Of all the Christopher Pike ones, I think this is one of the most read Christopher Pike ones out there. We got the alien quarterback on the high school team, even though he's not wearing a quarterback number. I don't know if he is a quarterback. Still one I haven't read though. He's got the penetrating red eyes. Lastly, we have from Point Horror, a YA teen horror, Prom Dress. It's a dress to die for. Lyle Litkey, Scholastic. She's got the glowing prom dress. I'm sure it's haunted. Another one just in great shape. Look at that. Overall prestige.